Trump 2024 National Press Secretary. Karoline, great to talk to you again. I can't remember if I dreamed this or I made it up, but did Trump send a truth last night that just said, thank you? Or did he send that, or was it, I made that up? And was that in relation to Kamala picking Tim Walz?
Yes, it was, Mike. You did not dream that. That was a very simple statement, very simple reaction from President Trump to Kamala Harris picking Tim Walz.
Oh, that's so good. That's so good. So Shapiro would have been the obvious pick for him, right? And then I think I'll admit, like, ooh, okay, that's okay. Now we got to like change things a little bit. Like we got to like figure out the ground game in Pennsylvania and how that might be different or whatever. So there had to be a little relief, huh?
Well, certainly it was surprising that Kamala Harris didn't go with Josh Shapiro. It would have been the obvious pick for her. I think most people on the Republican side thought that's who she was going with. So we were surprised for sure. Nevertheless, we were ready with opposition research on all of these guys, and the book on Tim Walz rather, is deep. I will tell you, there is a lot that we look forward to exposing about his record to the American people. He is a radical, and I think that Kamala Harris not choosing Josh Shapiro does show that the Democrat Party truly has become this cabal of just anti-Semitic, anti-Israel radicals. That is why she did not choose Josh Shapiro. Let's just be honest about it. She went with Walz because he's just as dangerously liberal as she is. And this is the most far-left ticket we've ever had in American history now.
Yeah, ABC News the other day said that Josh Shapiro will be a tough pick because of his views with Muslim Americans. It's like, that's such a great, like, what views? His views on school choice? Like, Muslims hate school choice? Like, what are you talking about? His views. It's because he's Jewish, obviously. It's great how they try to get around that. We only have a couple minutes. We spent all day talking about Walz, and we're going to continue. It's just so obvious, and it's just wonderful. But now that I was trying to find that truth that he sent out yesterday with him saying thank you, I came across these other things that I want to ask you about. So he did this interview Trump did with Aiden Ross. I don't know this guy, but he's some super popular streamer or whatever. And I do know that he got, and it says Barron introduced him. This is the one where Trump, he got gifted a Rolex and a cyber truck and all this stuff. And all I've read about it is criticism from the media that he dared do an interview with this guy and it was hyper masculine and how inappropriate and terrible. Why did you guys do that interview?
Well, if the media is saying that, it turns out the interview must have gone really well. And we know that it did. There was more than 100 million clicks and views on this guy's live stream. And Aiden Ross is very popular with the young people of this country, Gen Z in particular. He's just a popular streamer. And this is one of the many, alternative media opportunities that President Trump and our campaign have taken advantage of. The mainstream media outlets we know are unfair to President Trump. They have been now for 8 years, and it's a very standard audience, if you will, and this is our way of making sure President Trump's voice is heard by different demographics, and it was hugely successful. And Aiden Ross is, like I said, very popular with the Gen Zers, and he's a friend of Barron Trump. And it was actually Barron's idea to get his dad on this live stream, so kudos to Barron, because it turned out great.
Yeah, I wish we could visualize it, but the different audience reach between even 60 Minutes, which I believe is the #1 news show, even the reach between a 60 Minutes interview, which would just be a hit piece, like obviously, versus this guy, right? I've never heard of, 100 million views, and a totally different group of people. Like, that's so clearly the answer is to do more things like that, right?
Exactly. Absolutely. Yes. In fact, during the live stream, there was nearly 1 million people watching. And that is more than any daytime cable show on any of the major networks by far. I mean, it's not even close.
Yes.
So this is the way we're going to continue to go.
Yeah, that needs to be. Plus people who maybe otherwise wouldn't vote or weren't registered or don't watch news or whatever. Like, that's so obviously the play. And then it says right here that he's doing an interview with Elon Musk. What's up with that one?
He is, yes. More details to follow on that. But as you know, Elon did endorse President Trump recently. He has been supportive of the president for a while, but officially claimed his support following the disastrous debate and then the, of course, heinous attempt on President Trump's life. So we're proud to have Elon on board. That's going to be very exciting. We're working out the details, but stay tuned on Truth Social. That's where all the news always comes. President Trump will keep everyone posted on when that will be and how people can tune in.
I got 90 seconds. A bunch of people have called in. I shouldn't say a bunch. Two have called in and commented on what Trump said about Governor Kemp in Georgia and to stop doing that. What are we to say about his thoughts on the governor of Georgia?
Well, look, President Trump is not one to hesitate from speaking his mind. He always does that. That's why we love him. He's authentic. With that said, we'll be back in Georgia, and we're going to continue to focus on what Georgians have suffered from Bidenomics, from Kamala's disastrous record at the border, the increased inflation, the war around the world, the migrant crime. Never forget what happened to Laken Riley, a beautiful young woman whose life was cut short by an illegal immigrant that Biden and Kamala led into this country. So President Trump will continue to talk about the issues. We'll be back in Georgia soon. But, hey, the man speaks his mind, and you got to appreciate it.
I have to imagine people care more about those things you just listed than what he said about the governor. Like, who cares? Karoline Leavitt, who's the press secretary of the Trump campaign. Thanks, Karoline. Appreciate it.
Anytime.